I was coming straight out of solo queue pretty much. Being able to come to Hamburg and play in a huge stadium is going to be completely crazy.
Fnatic will not be an easy opponent. Vectors going somewhere like Twitch, just always going bot lane, even when Baron is up for like 20 minutes. I think we need to look out for that.
Alpha is probably the one top laner that is like really hard to play against.
I think it'll be nice to end the series on a win.
Instead of like being down about the G2 series, we're gonna step up to the plate and beat Misfits.
The final kings with Fnatic. Coming in from Challenger.
Guten Tag und herzlich willkommen in Hamburg! After 12 weeks of competition, the Spring Split has led us here to the fabulous Barclaycard Arena, which will play host to tonight's clash between Fnatic and Misfits. So many thousands of fans outside waiting, dressed up, all nice and ready for the fun and the action tonight here in the Barclaycard Arena, as well as the players preparing backstage. They should excited for this third match decider and concentrated on the win. Good evening after everyone. I'm Eva Schokke supporter, and with me to cover all of today's action are Andrew Various Day and Splice's Jonas Trashy Anderson. So, to start it off, I saw on Twitter that you're very good at German nowadays, so is there anything you'd like to say?
Moin Moin Hamburg.
That works, that works.
That's not bad, that's not bad. Guten Tag Hamburg, ich heiße Various. Wie geht's?
Sehr gut, mir geht auch gut, danke. Ja, ich freue mich natürlich, um hier mit euch allen zusammen zu sein, das ganze Wochenende League of Legends zu gucken. A great weekend of League of Legends here with the finals between the Unicorns of Love and G2 tomorrow, and the third place bout between Misfits and Fnatic today. So let's dive into the matchup today and the bracket to see how these two teams, Fnatic and Misfits, made it here. Unfortunately for them, falling just in the semifinals, but a good run nonetheless.
It really was a good run. We had a very exciting quarterfinal match with Misfits getting themselves the reverse sweep up against Splice, and we saw Fnatic getting a surprising upset up against H2K, taking that 3-0.
And you know, for both teams, just getting to the stage here is a huge accomplishment, I think, for how the split has been. So I think both teams should be excited to be able to play in front of such a huge crowd.
Yeah, I agree. We heard it there in the opening video as well. For Misfits, it was their inaugural split, their very first split here, and they may be a bit disappointed that they didn't make it to the final, but they have their eyes set on the third place match, and it would be a fantastic ending and also a start to the summer for them.
It really will be. I think that as a team, Misfits have grown a lot. Remember that coming in from Challenger, this was a team that some people considered overhyped. The expectations were, how will they really compete against the LCS teams? But they came into Group A and they demolished those expectations and sat at the top throughout the regular season.
And abolished Splice.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really want to talk about that, but I mean, their split has been great overall. Like, I think in playoffs they haven't played as good as they played in the split, but we have to understand, like, it's a young team. They have a lot of things to learn, and I think just being able to play on the stage is a huge accomplishment for them.
It definitely will be, as it will be for Fnatic. They had a late season surge that resulted in a dominant 3-0 win against H2K in the playoffs. They almost didn't make it to the playoffs. It wasn't looking good for them throughout the split, and it is really admirable how they managed to pull it all together when it mattered most, and that's also how they're going to approach this match.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Fnatic play once again. I love the fact that they gave up the idea of the perfect game, and instead they decided to play the Fnatic game. They picked a style that is extremely difficult for teams to be able to deal with. It's enabled them to flourish, and while G2 were able to adapt, I think that it will be an exciting thing to bring out.
And we have to remember, like, Fnatic in the second game could easily taken the second game, and then maybe they would have been in the grand final. So they have really shown improvement in the playoffs, and I want to see how they play today.
Definitely so, and there's a lot on the line today. In addition to the pride that comes with third place, the teams are also fighting for championship points as they take their first steps towards Worlds 2017, because that is what all LCS teams, of course, and all teams around the world fight for. And getting some championship points on the board here would be a great start.
Yeah, I mean, these points really matter at the end of the season, like end of summer split, when we need to find out which teams from EU are going to the World Championships. So these points today can be crucial if you're going to Worlds or not.
Yeah, definitely. We saw it last year as well. And just for Misfits, they said, this is our one-year plan. This is our goal. And we thought, well, is that maybe because you're underestimating yourself going into the playoffs? But they can be proud of what they've shown so far. And it will be up to also the individual players who are on the big stage for the first time to show that they're worthy.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of standout individual performers on the side of Misfits. Power of Evil is one of the ones that we've really been looking at. Not only is he playing on his home turf, but he's also been one of the standout carries where if he can get a lead, he has such a fantastic ability to transition that lead across the rest of the map.
And what's funny about Misfit is that during the split, everyone was like, holy moly, Kakao is so good. But in the playoffs, it's kind of the other players that have been stepping up. Like we have seen Alfari carry games, we've seen Hansama carry games. So I want to see Kakao show up today and show what he's worth.
Well, we will see. We will dial in on this matchup further in just a bit. But first, there is something still left to settle. We know our all-pro team, our rookie, and our coach of the split. But there is one more honor to bestow. Let's meet your EU LCS 2017 Spring Split Most Valuable Player.
Been dreaming of the payoff, through the struggles and the trade-offs, fighting tooth and nail on the way up. Tell them the truth, but they think it's just made up. 'Cause we're gonna be legends. New Tech is locked inside the ultimatum, and New Tech is down. Unicorns turn the 5 on 3 around. It's a double kill for Chachi. He's not done. A triple. He can hope for more. But Charlie's the target. This might be the quadra. And Scott Bad Trexie stole the penta.
Josh is going to run to safety. He doesn't have to use it to engage. Flash out. Cabo still wants more. Waiting. Perry going in. Hextech ultimate available. Going to try to trap him in there. Cabo. Oh, for the bait. Oh, he wants to try and kill Sartorius. Vizichachi going to flash. He's going to get Sartorius. Oh, the first blood, Vizichachi. That's why Vizichachi was ranked #1 on our statistical analysis.
I spy with my little eye, player of the series rather, Vizichachi.
Game 1, Chachi did play better than Odoame.
Why not come full chaos? Reckless is going to get run down. Vizichachi slices and dices.
Exactly what you were talking about. Now Foxy gets taken by a tower shot there. Vizichachi going in.
Congratulations, Vizichachi. I know right now you must be a little surprised somewhat. Like you said to me, I wasn't expecting this as we handed you the trophy. How are you feeling about being MVP of the Spring Split?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm actually extremely startled about this right now because some people said it will be like a team captain meeting or something, and then I came on stage and this happened, so thank you very much. I'm really appreciating it.
Well, we didn't want to spoil the surprise, so we did tell you it was a team captain's interview, but you've done so well with the Unicorns this split, and you know, it's 2 years since the Unicorns made a finals last. What's different for you on the Unicorns heading into tomorrow's series?
I think the difference is that this roster that we have right now is probably the best that we have ever had so far, and the team synergy is absolutely on point. So I think we have great chances to win this finals this time.
So you go up against Expect, a player that a lot of people have talked about. We just saw a montage of your incredible plays. How do you feel now being voted the MVP of the split, now going into a matchup tomorrow? How does your 1 versus 1 setup against Expect feel to you?
It puts a bit more pressure, but I think I'm up to the challenge anyways.
You think you're up to a challenge? Would you dare to predict the matchup for tomorrow, the score?
I think we will win 3-1.
You think 3-1 on the series? Well, that's a very bold thing. I know you've got a lot of fan support here in Hamburg. How much does the fans being in the corner of the Unicorns count for you in-game and out-of-game, Chachi?
They help a lot, and this arena, the atmosphere already looks insane. So I believe tomorrow's matches will be absolutely hype, and there will be a lot of action as well.
Well, congratulations again for being MVP of the split, Vizicachi. You've had a phenomenal performance. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do tomorrow in the finals. We want to hear more about the third place match, so we're going to head back over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Stress and Vizicachi, and let's just take a moment to obviously look ahead tomorrow. He'll be playing in the final up versus Expect in the UOL versus G2, but a very rightful MVP. There were a lot of strong candidates, but it shows to me that Vizicachi has had one of his best splits to date.
I mean, he's always good. Like, he's consistently always performing, and I think the past 2 years he's always been considered like top, maybe top 3 top laner here in Europe. So well deserved for him for sure.
Definitely.
I have nothing but praise for Vizicachi. I think that he is one of the key members of Unicorn's success, and I am very excited to see what he can bring out on this stage tomorrow.
Yeah, it said it's going to be fired 3-1 according to him. We'll see, but for now we're going to turn back to today's action with the fight for third place. This best-of-5 series is a chance for both Misfits and Fnatic to prove themselves as top teams in the EU LCS. What are these two teams bringing to the table? Let's start with Misfits. How do the Misfits like to win games?
So we say Misfits like the discount G2. They like to play slow. They like to take not as many risks as some of the other teams like Fnatic. So we will see them play like strong macro and win by playing the macro style, and that is how they want to win.
And on the other side, Fnatic, are they going to bring the explosivity?
I think Fnatic are going to bring the Fnatic style. The fact that they bring out these unique and interesting picks, the fact that they play so heavily towards bot side is really why I think they're going to be looking to build a lot of their advantages thanks to the early game presence of Broxah.
Well, what I've been pondering about is the fact that in the semifinals we saw Fnatic's style or animal style getting dismantled by G2 in that best-of-5. They only won game 1 and then it started to unravel. So do we think they're going to stay with that strategy or maybe look for a different route?
They will for sure stay with the same kind of strategy. But the thing was, G2 kinda is, I think G2 is the best team at adapting here in Europe, and it really showed in the series. I'm not sure if Misfits can do the same, so I want to see Fnatic start off strong, playing aggressive, playing really proactive, and that is how they're gonna be the Misfits today.
Well, we'll see what happens on the macro level. I do want to dial into some of the lane matchups, and how can we not go to the mid lane first? Power of Evil up versus Captain. Power of Evil has the home crowd behind him, home crowd rather, here in Hamburg. He will be feeling the pressure, the first time for him returning to the very biggest of stages, and it is in Germany, and it is up versus that very aggressive rookie of Caps.
And to me, he is one of the star players that you need to look at for Misfits, because they have had the most success when this man goes off. If he's able to get a lead and he's able to roam around off with Kakao onto these side lanes, that's really where you see Misfits flourish, because Power of Evil as an individual is more than capable of getting his own lead, as we were able to see multiple times in their series versus Unicorns of Love.
I mean, I had the pleasure to talk to Cap yesterday, and he said he already wrote Power of Evil in his little book. So we will see how that goes. He was also really confident they were going to win 3-0, so I have high expectations of Caps. He's an incredible player.
Yeah, he is. We'll see how that mid lane matchup plays out. And of course, that's always connected to the jungle matchup. We have Kakao here versus Broxah. If we look at the whole split, Kakao early was like mentioned, maybe he could grow into a possible MVP candidate here or there. And Broxah had a very different trajectory coming in there for Fnatic when they were struggling as a lineup. And is it fair to say that in the last couple of weeks, Broxah has proven a bit more, he's been more active or visible in how the Fnatic won their games?
Yeah, I mean, we also have to take into account that Kakao got double banned in most games, like Lee Sin and Elise, and I think that's the most important part of this jungle matchup. They like both like Lee Sin and Elise, so we will see, like, are they playing the matchup or are they banning it out and playing something else? And I think removing these two champs from Kakao has shown good things.
But I think now we've got a lot of time. The Misfits have been preparing. They want to get themselves a win. They want to prove to this crowd that they are a top 3 team in Europe. And I'm expecting Kakao to have worked on something else, to be able to bring something to the table and challenge the early game presence that has been so good for Broxah in recent weeks.
Definitely so. If we look at the match as a whole, tomorrow and today are actually kind of similar in the fact that we have a more aggressive, proactive team versus a more macro-heavy, controlled style team. So if played the best, which style will be victorious here? If Misfits can play out their slow macro, will we be able to choke out Fnatic?
I think the biggest difficulty for Misfits will be dealing with this early game, because in my eyes, they are the team that has a playbook in mind. And when things stick to the playbook, then they are an excellent team. They know exactly what to do, they know exactly where to move their players and how to play. But then when you add a new chapter to the page, that's when Misfits get a little bit confused. And Fnatic, they like to write new books halfway through the game, bringing out lane swaps, bringing out picks that they've never played against before. I think this will be the big curveball that Misfits have to demonstrate whether or not they can adapt on the fly.
And the exciting part about Fnatic is, like, you don't know if they came up with something completely new and maybe they'll fire it towards Misfits. And I think the difference between Misfits and G2 is that G2 have shown that they can adapt, and they can maybe lose a game and then they will adapt for next and then they'll be fine. But I haven't really seen that from Misfits yet, so we will have to see if they can adapt to Fnatic style.
For sure. So, tell me, how is it going to play out? Who's going to win, and who's going to win that third place decider?
I think that given the recent performances of both teams and given the early game dominance, Fnatic will take this series 3-1.
I think there's some kind of a 50-50 split. The power of evil and Misfits fans and the Fnatic fans always there.
You know, I think this series will be a lot closer than people expect, and I think that it will go to all 5 games. And a lot of it will come down to who is going to win the first game. I think Fnatic is a very momentum-based team, and if they get off a really good start, then they could easily take the series. But I have hopes for Misfits to make this a close one.
All right, let's see how it plays out. The wait is over. Let's get lost, and we are ready for our third place decider. Let's step on stage and meet today's contenders.
Tonight's match is the third place decider best of 5 series. The winner will earn 50 points towards qualifying for the 2017 World Championship. Introducing first, on the blue side of the rift for game number 1, the 5-time European LCS champions, Fnatic! In the top lane, Soaz. In the jungle, Bruxa. In the mid lane, Caps. At AD carry, the people's champion, Reckless. At support, it's Jezzes. The coach for Fnatic, Finley Stewart. And their opponents starting on the red side of the rift for game number 1, making their debut appearance in an LCS final round match, it's Misfits! In the top lane, Alfari. Roaming the jungle, Cacao. Meine Damen und Herren, begrüßen Sie mit mir aus Deutschland, Power of Evil! At AD carry, Hans Sammer. At support, it's Igna. And the coach for Misfits is Hussein Mousvi. Players, please take your seats for the match. Everybody, please once again welcome the teams for the third place decider.
There you have it, folks. There is nothing left to do. Teams are introduced. It is time to get on to the Rift. I'm Daniel Dracos. I'll be bringing you this match alongside Mitch Krepo-Vorspools and Martin DeFicio Lunga. Welcome, gentlemen. Are you ready? Ready for Hamburg?
Pretty ready. You know, the crowd is very loud in here so far, especially when Power Vivo was introduced, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, loving the battle, Germany versus
Fnatic.
Fnatic. Fair. We do have a lot of Fnatic
I think
fans.
Power Vivo won in the end.
Yeah, I think he definitely did. At least he wins something today, because Fnatic for me is slightly the favorite.
Oh, okay. All right.
Come on. I think Fnatic is I think KO style.
I'm with Trashy here. 5 games.
5 games? Yeah.
5 games.
All the way. No voices when we're done.
No voices?
No voices.
We can do that. I, for one, do not have to cast tomorrow, so I'll be fine. I'll lose my voice. You guys want to do the same? We'll figure it out.
Quick shot can solo cast tomorrow.
It'll
it's
be great. It'll be wonderful.
We can lose the Physio. We don't need him. A lot of players are setting up, so they should be actually ready soon. Did all their settings earlier. And we're looking at, honestly, an interesting clash of styles. Again, just like the forward playing Fnatic, you know, are they going to do the expected? The expected, unexpected.
Yeah, Fnatic will always do the unexpected. And, you know, it's not even like a cheesy line anymore when you actually talk to the players and you say, why on earth were you making that play in the bottom lane? They're like, well, the enemy didn't expect it, so we were going to go for that play to kind of surprise them. And they will do this every game. And it's obviously going to make this very interesting to watch because it means we will have action when we don't even expect it.
Yeah, because on the other hand, you have Misfits who have, honestly, the closing style is as meta as it could be, you know, standard cookie cutter, trying to play the perfect macro, you know, Korean style almost. It helps that they also have 2 Koreans.
Sure.
But then when they fall behind, it may not flow so well against an opponent who just completely disrespects that style.
It almost hurts the Misfits from time to time to try to play so slow and steady. Sometimes I kind of want to see them unleash. Just like, come on, let Kakao go. Let's see what he can do. Just follow him.
We see it every once in a while. Ignore goes in on that Thresh. He finds a kill in lane by himself. They set themselves up for success with those aggressive plays, but it has been kind of inconsistent. Sometimes we see the aggressive early game. Sometimes we don't, and that feels like the big X factor here.
A lot of it comes down to the pick and ban phase, which is obviously the big thing we're waiting for right now. The players making sure we have to stand here and Phil talk about the pick and ban and all that kind of stuff.
I think they're enjoying
They're
being
warming
talked
their
about.
hands. You saw Kakao dual wielding hand warmers, very important. In pristine conditions. It's obviously always different though for a player to move from the LCS stage to an arena. That is the cool part because if you mess up in an LCS stage, like you look at the crowd, there's 100 people cheering for your opponent maybe. If you mess up here, there's about 5,000 people that will rub your nose in your mistake because they will all be cheering for your opponent and it actually can get into your head. So we actually see who breaks first in some of these teams.
Well, the good thing is once the game starts, that's going to be the focus and you try and not pay attention to anything else. Just want to try and win this game here because that's the thing, you know, it sucks not being in the final for both these guys. But at the same time, the championship points, they're important. Playing on stage is very important. The crowd is behind some of the players.
Tons of pressure on these guys, as you mentioned, but having the backings of the fans as well must be equally important to that fear, to that pressure.
And just memories. These are like career-defining memories. All these players, when they walk on stage, you could see like Broxa was just reveling in the moment. You know, he gets his first taste of the stage, and you look at Reckless and SOAS. They've been here before, like they've run it, but every single time you get back on that stage, it's still that special feeling that you will kind of treasure forever, even if it is just a third-place match for them.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons for Misfits. It's so good to be here because you get experience towards, you know, Summer Split where you play for Worlds, and they keep talking about it's a 1-year plan. We don't want to just go in and have a really good Spring Split and then a bad Summer Split. It's all about just building up. It's getting better and better every single week and getting, you know, some of these rookies, Alfari, Hansama, on this stage here. It's really good for them and can, in the end,
it can only be a benefit. If you look where they came from, new team, coming in from Challenger, their goal is obviously making playoffs. And then they advance in the first round, they make it to the offline stage, they get a taste of what it is you play for, because you lose it sometimes, I think, in the week-to-week grind of the LCS.
And there's playoffs pressure, and then there's crowds like this for pressure to put on you. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, game 1, picks and bans. Fnatic will be on the blue side, Misfits on the red.
First thing we will look at, Elise and Lee Sin. Are they going to be open, closed, or who ends up playing them?
Well, there's a good chance we can see them traded, leave both open, or if you are Fnatic, you can ban one and first pick the other one. But obviously that means you then can't go for a Shen or a Kennen, some of these other picks we do see. Baited the entire crowd, stepping back out. You thought we were starting? No. We're waiting another 20 minutes.
Yeah, joke's on you. The snack stands are right around the corner if you want to refresh yourselves. Follow some of that sweet dough.
There's no game today. We're not going to show any games. They're actually already playing. We just don't show it.
I'm sure they appreciate those jokes, Deficio. Thank you for keeping the crowd going. Of course, we will notify you guys as soon as we're aware of what the issue is, but should have it fixed soon, and we'll be right back in the picks and bans. Already, I think, nothing particularly revealed. Varus, like kind of what we come to expect from Fnatic. We'll see.
Yeah, they ban that every game. So.
Yeah, but it works, because if you have this style from Reckless where you play whatever AD carry is not being played, you know, they're not played for a reason. You know, Vayne, Twitch, they're all pretty short range, and they generally get poked out by the likes of a Varus, giving that to Ansama.
They're risky picks.
Who has a more of a utility role in the Misfits. I think it's a smart ban.
I mean, that's the thing. If your AD carry does not play Ashe, Varus, Caitlyn in 2017, then you have a very unique bot lane style.
Is that what we're calling it?
That's what we're calling it. We're calling it unique.
I think it is definitely unique, maybe among other things.
Interesting, debatable. Like, you know, you can say many things about like Reckless and his champion pool, but he's sticking to it.
Open for interpretation.
Yes.
All right. Well, while you gentlemen figure out exactly how to label Reckless's bottom lane picks, players are getting back to lobbies. There was no technical issues, just a remade lobby, and we should be back in shortly.
Sounds great.
Good. But in the meantime, I am curious, what adjective are we going to use? What's the decided adjective for Reckless as
aggressive.
an AD carry?
Let's call it aggressive.
Aggressive.
Just a tilt quick shot.
Interesting. I mean,
clean.
Clean, yeah. I think clean is good. It's a clean pool. So we're getting back into Champ Select, Daniel Dracus. Let's see what we get.
Thank you, Martin, for letting me know. Here we are. Of course, bans have remained the same. Malzahar now added as well, but no Elise yet, no Lee Sin from what we talked about earlier.
Yeah, you gotta respect Fnatic for sticking to the same bans throughout almost the entire playoffs. Varus, Malzahar always getting removed.
I mean, it has worked for them in the past. Let's not forget, when Fnatic faced off against G2 Esports, was it not for some crucial failure in Game 2?
Yeah, of course.
They could have easily won that game. A single flash could have meant 2-0 into 3-0, and they could have been playing the finals.
So on the side of Misfits, Twitch, Aurelion, Soul, I actually like this a lot. Like this is part of the uniqueness of what Fnatic is drafting in their games and how difficult it is to play against some of these newer champions you don't normally face.
The more Misfits can channel and funnel Fnatic into what is considered the meta average style, the more advantageous the game will be for them. They obviously want to keep it as close to standard as they can, and that means you remove the biggest kind of, not cheesy, but just out there picks. Aurelion Soul, so different to play against. Twitch, so different to play against.
Now, Misfits can actually ban either Elise or Lee Sin and maybe bait it as a potential first pick for Fnatic, and then get like a Kennen or a Shen on the side of Misfits. Like, those are some of the key picks we're looking at right now. They do ban the Shen. I'm expecting Kennen first pick from Fnatic then, and then Misfits needs to answer with their preferred jungler.
And we do see both the Lee Sin and the Elise open, so each side will get an option to take what they want. Seems like no pressure on the jungle pool quite yet.
Yeah, in situations where a lot of this overlap happens, like Lee Sin and Elise.
What?
Ooh.
Okay.
Roxa.
A little bit of a mix-up. We thought Lee Sin, we thought Elise, but here's the Ivern.
Theory is out of the window. Never mind. No longer matters. Let's see what the Misfits answer with. Are they going to steal the Kennen? Because they've had limited success with it too. Like, it's not as been great as a pick for them.
But you can take it and give it to Alfari top lane, and he should be able to survive any lane against Soaz, who mainly is a tank player. So I think removing Kennen makes a lot of sense, unless Fnatic is looking to draft like this Tristana late game comp with Ivern already. Ivern was first picked. No one is first picking Ivern.
No one is first picking Ivern, and I think this is what the desk talked about. He said, hey, there's a chance. There's a chance that they're just going to have something completely new today, and I think that might just be the case on the side of Fnatic.
All right, we see Graves locked in as the answer, though. That's actually what sparked the resurgence of Graves in week 2 and 3 of the LCS. When Ivern was so meta and was so broken, kind of, Graves wasn't considered that great of a jungler. He came back because his fast clear speed was just so strong in that matchup.
See, and now I've heard some confident talk from Caps about facing LeBlanc, how he spent weeks practicing counters against LeBlanc, and this first rotation from Misfits, I think it's very meta, so we can't blame him for that one, but they have not looked very good with Graves as a jungler. They have looked good with Lee Sin and Elise.
Yeah.
But clearly, this week in scrims, it's been Graves, and it's been working for them, otherwise they wouldn't grab it here.
Or they're just so confident that even though their style may suffer with the Graves, the direct matchup Graves with the Ivern is so strong, and we've seen Fnatic have such a dependency on Broxa. If Broxa does well, Fnatic does well. If he doesn't gank, they start suffering. But their first opening 3 picks here for Fnatic. Surprise with Iron, great.
Completely.
The comfort cannon on Reckless always has been great, and then the LeBlanc versus Ryze matchup, a complete skill matchup where the edge goes to the Ryze, especially later on. Caps should triumph in that matchup.
Yeah, if you're Fnatic, if you're a Fnatic fan, like you are so happy right now, even with that Iron first, because obviously that was something they had planned some time ago. Getting Cannon for Reckless, getting counterpick for Caps in mid, it is huge for Fnatic because they are a team that relies on the bottom side of the map. And having that Ryze and Cannon makes them look very good.
All right, now we see this ban. First ban out is the Fizz for Misfits. They might be looking at a Rumble pickup maybe in just first rotation. If you ban out 2 strong champions, you pick the remaining Rumble, it's going to be hard for Soaz to find an answer. Or
Soaz is going to pick Gragas. Like then you need to take away the Gragas. It's been such a good pick for him. And if you want to then take that Rumble, I feel like you need to deny Soaz something up in the top lane, not just the Fizz.
And we heard Soaz talk about it at the start of the day. Hey, Alfari is a guy you have to respect on the top side of the map, an incredibly difficult player to play against. So maybe just taking a matchup like that, Gragas, looking to neutralize some of the pressure here. But now Camille taken off the table as well. Clear focus on the top side of the map.
Yeah, if they do not ban Gragas, I think there's a chance those Misfits can just pick it. Like, it is really good to have some strong engage from Misfits, tank presence as well, against things like, you know, Kennen in the back line, who does really well if he can hit multiple targets, but he can't if there's a big tank in front of him. That being said, Misfits have not really excelled when they play tanks top lanes, and that does put it towards the Rumble.
Now Fnatic are removing the carry champs from Misfits here to not let them snowball in the early game and close with their style and hopefully fall behind a bit. Ignore being behind the Thresh here. The Camille, which was such a great pick for Fnatic, they no longer need it. They say, you know what, there will be a support preferentially range that we can play. You whipped out the Karma, the Annie, so there's plenty of range still for Jesus.
Have to see what he opts for, but it looks like it will be the Rumble coming in. Confirmed now for Alfari on the top side, and will Soaz look to neutralize the matchup, take a tank, or take something strong of his own?
And that's the thing, with Fizz being removed, there are still other picks. You can go Kled, you can go Gnar if you want to try and win the side lane later, but Gragas is the safest choice. And the champion Soaz actually looked really good on in the semi-final against G2.
He has some excellent teleports and E-flash engages, so that's why we will expect the Gragas to come out here. I think it's too much variance. We've seen the cut before, but Fnatic as a team wasn't communicating well to implement it here, so it's a much sturdier pick and ban phase if they go for the Gragas. If this actually gets locked in, it's very interesting, because Soraka pairs incredibly well with both Ryze, a tanky front laner, the shields from Ivern, so this actually is a pretty coherent composition.
Baiting us in the end, though, will be the Karma
Baiting us
locked.
into meta? What's happening?
I mean, it's quite similar. The same concepts still apply for Karma, just to a different degree.
Have the Cannon, who might need a little more support in those team fights, and he's going to get it. The Ivern, the Karma, so many shields, as you mentioned. Now it's on Caps and Reckless to provide the damage in this game. But Misfits, they're looking for a little playmaking on the bottom side of the map, and they're going to opt for that Nautilus in the hands of Igno.
We actually see this quite often in Europe. People counterpick Karma with the Nautilus support, and then they run like this double engage CC lane. So if Karma and her lane are just pushing, you get to level 6, and then you're instantly just going to die to a game.
Yeah, it really means that Fnatic have to either get a very large deficit knocked into the Misfit bot lane, or swap away at level 6, because this lane, you can't push it and poke it under the turret, because if one hook comes out and then it's a wide skill shot, it's so easy to land on Karma. Reckless alone can no longer win that 1v2.
It is really fun to see, though, how Fnatic have stepped away from pure early game focus. Yes, they have some strong lanes here with Ryze. Of course, Gragas is a fine laner. But if you look at the mid game for Fnatic, like, that's not where they spike. Further late game with things like Ivern in there, the Ryze again getting the tier fully stacked up, that's when we start really seeing Fnatic hit a power spike.
It is actually the Misfits that spike in the mid game, you know, Rumble on 1 or 2 items around a dragon fight, you know, playing the snowball style. I think is actually a great composition for the Misfits. If you see how they have been performing the best overall, they need to take control of the early, snowball it with clear objective shot calling, and see if they can take the map.
Yeah, and we know Graves is a pick that works well against Ivern. Could explain why Kakao decided to go for that one instead of some of his comfort picks, because you can literally just run into Ivern's jungle and you don't have to fear him at all.
Well, if you have faith in the Misfits composition, hashtag MSF win at LOL Esports on Twitter. Hashtag FNC win if you remain loyal to the side of Fnatic. But gentlemen, we are now getting ready and prepared. Closer ever to game 1. Ivern, a huge mix-up. No Lee Sin in the hands of Broxa. Clearly, both teams preparing something new for this matchup.
It's always exciting with the first game in an arena here. Third place game between these two teams. And first game is so important.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Just about ready, just about time, and here we go. It is game one. Fnatic versus Misfits. Both teams ready, both teams eager. Sky, bird's eye view of the Rift. We'll have to see, gentlemen. We've seen some unconventional level ones coming in from Fnatic, and already it looks like we're poised and ready to see some action here.
Source's body slam was on cooldown because he just jumped over that wall. He's sneaking in to the jungle of Misfits. They like to do this on the side of Fnatic with the Gragas. Did not manage to find anyone though, and it looks like everyone goes back, and we might get a standard level 1.
Kind of poking and prodding at each other. You see Misfits dropping a ward on the top side, maybe hoping to spot a lane swap. Fnatic trading it for some vision of the blue, so both sides will have a little more information entering the early stages of the game.
A single deep ward and process of elimination, especially against a very obvious clearing jungle like Graves. He can vary it up, but his merit is in its efficiency, usually.
When you play against Iron, that's where we start seeing like different jungle paths.
That's true.
So often. Kakao is not starting his own Raptors. Where are you going, my low friend?
I think a ward over the wall.
No, dashes. He's going to take away this red. So Iron will most of the time start Raptors into then his own red buff.
No, he's enchanting this.
Don't worry, he steps away.
Walk away.
And he's clearing.
Oh, it's the long con.
Oh, that is a cool start from Kakao. So again, Iron loves to do Raptor into his red buff and then go over and clear his other side of the jungle.
And this is an E start on Kakao. It's incredibly slow. Obviously very sustained. Graves does not take damage. You know,
nice champion.
That corruption potion he has in there, that's just like for aesthetics, you know? It's like the equivalent of bathroom decorative towels. You don't actually use them. We'll need to see when Broxa actually finds this out, because this could actually hit the early game plan that Fnatic have put together. Teams prepare so well for game 1, and this may throw them a...
And this is so devastating to an Ivern. He needs that smite if he wants to instant clear camps. He has to prep them if he wants to get anything. And Brox is going to walk in, find that there's nothing there.
Oh, is he going to find him?
Kakao
can force a flash, maybe?
Moving forward,
he waits. Obviously, you cannot contest Ivern on camps. He's not fighting them. He's just hugging them.
Well, if he doesn't have smite, you can, obviously, but let's see, mid lane, here's a gank.
Cardinal moving forward, red buff ticking, Caps appears to be fine for now, but walking forward, flash to safety.
Kakao is here to play. Like, what a start from him, picking the Graves. He knows he can invade Iron early. He doesn't have to really fear a potential 1v1. Good gank as well against Caps, he's forcing a flash. Misfits with that strong laning start they often need to win games.
Yeah, Ivern clears in 2 bursts. The initial setup where he spikes to like level 3 and 4, then he has to set up again, and he slows down a lot. And then the second clear is another burst. If you can mess up either of them on Graves and then go back to your own jungle, you can really outpace the enemy jungler and get a level advantage and then show up in the lane level 6 to make that crucial gank.
And this is the type of early proactive play we love to see from Kakao. Usually it's the Lee Sin, usually it's setting up the lanes for success, but this time he's taking down the enemy jungler, limiting what Brox is going to be able to do on the map.
And it's still such a big surprise. We get a first pick Iron. Now it is a pick that has been used a lot over in LPL in China. We don't see other regions really pick it that often. A random ban here and there, and that's about it. But again, it was first pick here. Clearly Fnatic must have expected Misfits to look for the same. But it's such a different pick for Broxa, different style. It's not the Elise Lee Sin we normally see him dominate on. He's looking for a top lane gank, and Misfits are looking for a bot lane gank.
Yeah, they translate that early gank objective. They free up Power of Evil, and he's showing up bot, attacking the bot lane from Fnatic.
It's going down, double exhaust, traded back and forth, but here comes Power looking for a little bit more. Shade goes wide! No, that's not what you wanted. Moving in. Fnatic going to recover nicely, but now Alfari, he's the man in trouble. Broxa slapping down, dodges out the root caller, clean sidesteps.
No flash on Soaz, that's already been used. Alfari, if he escapes the next
Trigger seed, Alfari definitely triggered after that. First blood drops for Fnatic.
Misfits were so close in the bottom lane, but they missed crucial skill shots in the end.
Yeah. Jez is there channeling his inner Rihanna. Chains and whiffs, they excite him very much so because he escapes the claws of death right there. He should have just died. That was a beautiful rotation from Graves and LeBlanc.
Well, moving for a bit more.
It is game 1 as well. Like, it is game 1, Power people with some nerves. It is perfectly acceptable, but that's the kind of play you want to pull off. So Alfari went down top lane. We just talked about how Broxa is not on the same kind of jungler we normally see. But he looks for skirmishers, he's super active early on. But pulling off that first gank on Iron is great. Now he wants to just scale, get to his level 6, get Daisy.
Not too much of a difference, though, between the gold on both sides. Only 300 difference. The top lane, Soaz all about the early game. Triple Dorans coming out, whereas Alphari having to build a lot more conservatively here in the early laning phase with the Negatron Cloak.
Soaz, what can he do here? Can he fight back? Another fight in the bot lane. This Nautilus is hyper aggressive. Hansama's here, but Kakao is here again. Jez's no summoners.
Definitely caught out. Kakao just going to walk this one down, pick it up. Nice kill for Misfits.
It's good to see Misfits here really be active early on, because they know that's how they can beat Fnatic.
Again, they're running this mid-game composition, and for that to work, you need to spike early, get a few kills, and then start snowballing. And they're also attacking the weak point for Fnatic. Fnatic have so many times relied on their bot lane to carry, picking these niche picks, you know, locking Reckless on the map, allowing him to play that side lane pressure with the cannon, and they're now being put at a deficit.
It's what we talked about in Champ Select, how this Ashe Nautilus lane, it's so easy to force like a play, set up a gank. You have so much CC between these two champions. And it worked twice now against Karma, who obviously doesn't really have any dash or anything to really get away. He can buffer movement speed, but that's not going to be enough.
And we look at the potential all-in on the bottom side if we see a 3v3. If Ivern makes the way down there, and you got two huge damage dealers, and all Jesus and Broxa right now can do is provide shields for Reckless, and he just doesn't have the items to dish out the damage necessary to win those early fights.
So at the same time, Fnatic can't really lane swap right now because top lane is getting pushed in by Alphari over and over.
Yeah, and if you want to get that lane swap, you want to join a pushing top laner so you can get access to the turret. Otherwise, especially when you play versus a Rumble, he's going to hit level 6, use Equalizer for another wave, and you will lose the turret race.
Yeah, you want the pusher, you want a champion that can sneak in and maybe gank, but there's no Twitch. It was obviously banned away by Misfits. Much harder as a cannon who just shows up in the lane. Reckless will get 6 fairly soon. We have no 6 for Brox. He's only level 4 now. He's down in experience due to Kakao with this great start. And Misfits, their composition is only going to get better the next few minutes.
And very quickly approaching level 6 in the Misfits bottom lane. The Ashe, the Nautilus, the options for engage coming through, as well as all summoner spells up and available.
And that's a key point, Dracos, because if Fnatic choose to fight them, they can still go for the double flash heal out. With the wealth of CC effects that they have, it's going to be very hard for Fnatic to find a big lead from the bottom lane, which means Brox has to shift his focus. But that top lane, despite a gank, is already suffering. Oh, Alphari!
Moving forward, tower aggro. Not going to take too much damage here, though. Happy to just try and turn it around. Soaz biting off a bit more than he could chew, but here comes Broxa, level 6. Where is Daisy? Root Caller goes in, goes wide. Trigger Seed going to connect the snow. In goes Daisy. Down comes the Equalizer, but Alphari, he looks like he's caught between a rock and a hard place because there is no option out, and that's going to be another kill for Soaz.
Second time, Broxa pulls off a gank top lane. It does mean that Fnatic's bottom lane needs to just back away. Kind of giving up this wave here, so they're fighting each other for this first tower.
Yeah, this is the most annoying part of playing versus Graves. This guy will not gank you, he will just group with his laners, poke you out, make you move away from the turret, and that's exactly what is happening to Fnatic on the bottom side of the map right there. That turret has already disappeared.
All too easy for the Graves, the Ashe, the Nautilus. You got Daisy, you got Ivern, you got a Gragas on the top side. It does not compare, and that's going to move in the favor of Misfits despite the kill for Fnatic.
Still though, we get to see a good start from the top side of Fnatic, which is actually normally the side where they don't get the big advantages early on. It's so often about Reckless and Jesses and Broxa being on that side of the map, but it's now 2 kills for Soaz on this Gragas here. A pick where if he is able to roam, he's super creative on like showing up in a lane, set up a gank. We saw it against G2, he was visiting perks in the mid lane like over and over.
Yeah, he's also very proactive with his teleports. Like he reads the game well in that regard.
Good skill to have. Now we keep our eyes on Power of Evil. Only double Dorans under his belt. The Rise happy to keep stalling. He keeps scaling up, stacking that tier, and caps with double buff. Something that you have to respect. But PoE has been on a tear throughout the entirety of playoffs. So while he took a risky matchup with the blind pick on the LeBlanc, we cannot forget that this guy has been playing insanely well in the last few series.
Power of Evil was the main reason for why Misfits managed to reverse sweep.
Yeah.
Splice, get into the semifinal in the first place.
But he was also allowed to snowball with an advantage and then influence the other lanes like that. You know, he needs some help, but this game, Kakao really made an early dent in Broxa's game plan. This guy, he's showing up to a stadium event, he picks Ivern, he has his dream clear in his head, and then he's planning out his next move. Oh, I'm gonna go top lane, I'm gonna go bot lane. He walks back to his jungle, and he's like, oh, it's gone.
Such a clever start for Kakao, and it has paid off, but only a single kill under his belt from the bottom side of the map. Broxa, despite the rough early start, still making things happen on the top side of the map.
Oh,
Alphari.
Round 3.
Now running back.
At this point, he has to be enjoying it, because
Dodging out, sidestep, still caught out. Alfari, he's in trouble. Not a lot left to do, trying desperately to find the 2v1, but it's the trigger seed, it's the belly pop, it's everything on the side of Fnatic, and that's the killing spree for Solar.
Alfari is definitely triggered right now, overextending. Every time he even dares to push a lane, enemy jungle shows up. And for that to happen, it means that you don't have enough pressure in the other side of the map.
Again, it's just so interesting, Fnatic putting so much focus on the Rumble. Now, obviously, that is one of the problems with Rumble. It is very hard to get away from CC. Like, you're not going to jump away from anything. You just have to take the fight. And you obviously can't win in 2v1, but his team is getting something on the other side.
Yeah, at the same time, you have to read the map, but sometimes you have to think, what could my opponents do? If Alfari glances to the bottom lane, he sees Reckless and Jessis hugging their turret. He sees the Ryze pretty close to his turret, so then he has to start guessing. I wonder where Broxah is going to gank. Well, guess what? It's going to be top lane again.
I think at this point, he's just like, there's no way he's going to continue going top lane. Like, I'm 0-3. I don't even give that much gold. Now, Misfits, they're looking for a play mid lane. Remember, there's cleanse on Caps.
Power People leaps forward. There goes the Ash for Han Sama. Caps does just cleanse out, looking to walk away, but in they go. Depth Charge comes out. Ignar looking to lock him up. Blast Cone, is he going to get it? Yeah, Caps. Fancy footwork to make it out.
Yeah, and a very costly mistake there by Ignar, missing the flash hook, just allowing Caps to escape. He's now down 2 summers, but the reaction is bot lane play from Fnatic.
It is Misfits trying to respond to Reckless and Jessis pushing the bot lane with Daisy to say, no, let's force something mid lane, see if we can trade a tower. But with, of course, Soaz being there, very strong Gragas at this point, already fully completed Spirit Visage, he might be able to at least delay Misfits a bit.
Obviously, a reaction to that play is the top lane where Alfari is hitting that turret. So we see all these events tied together. You know, pressure leaves in one area.
Look at this.
React somewhere else.
Caps coming in. No, it's Broxah. Surprise delivery of the jungler. Now moving forward. Scryer's Bloom is there, but where is the Blast Cone? Can PoE take it to safety? Looks like the answer is yes, but there's Caps over the wall. Can he get it past the ward?
He was spotted on the ward! Deep vision from Misfits placed earlier.
Oh, power. Oh, he's out!
Can he get executed?
Can he get it?
No, he's hit recently. He has to wait a long time.
Yeah,
He's going on the mission.
Is he going to leap back?
He needs just one tower
Where are you
hit.
going, Power?
Or minions.
Minions.
Jump to the tower.
Buying as much time as he can. Oh! Gives it over to Broxah in the end. So close. What a beautiful play from Power despite that.
Oh, yeah, I call it worth it, man. Yeah, you give one kill to the Iron, but you get a kill on the Blank yourself. You need to snowball against this Ryze here if you are Power of Evil. So getting that one kill. Oh man, Caps did not expect the ward to be there.
Of course not. Like, but that's what you have to read sometimes too. You know, they've been pressured in the bottom side. Misfits, the entire game have been focusing their attention on the bottom side of the map. That is why Alfari was prone to gang pressure from Broxah. And obviously that leaves you with deep wards to set up that play.
Now this one kill here for Broxah, the 3 assists he's been getting, 2 towers as well for Fnatic. Does mean we get very quickly towards Redemption, Locket, everyone's favorite items. Because it means people stop dying. And suddenly we get these great team fights where no one will die for some time. Flash in, but probably missing the chain again.
So that's 2 times in a row. You have to wonder if it may for further aggression. You know, sometimes it may get into your head. Here only Broxah arrives. And we've seen how the rest plays out here. I do like the accelerated gold in games like this, especially when you play with like Rumble, LeBlanc comps. It makes for very interesting second dragon fights.
Oh, that little play. Caps spotted, obviously. See, Fnatic was in the jungle of Misfits. Very risky play, because if you guys look at the minimap, Reckless is bottom lane, and that's one of the problems when you want to play split pushing AD carry, which is what Reckless likes to do, is you're stuck down there, and then it's suddenly much more about mid laners fighting each other. See a solo kill, obviously, from before. There's another one for Power of Evil, who's been getting quite a lot this split.
Of course, you see the regular season much more in favor of Cass with playoffs. Coming up big, that's the 9th solo kill now for Power of Evil, and it's looking good for him in the mid lane.
And the Misfits, they want to answer this split push from Fnatic by engaging in the middle lane. For Fnatic, ideally, they find a pick on the bottom lane and then rotate to that tier 2 turret. But now that the arrow goes wide, this opens up a window of opportunity for Fnatic to maybe play the map themselves.
Looking around, Reckless has the bottom wave pushing. Vision starting to get cleared out. Fnatic looking to take control, at least for now.
Yeah, and now we see the value of pushing lanes as well. As this bottom lane pushes in, it forces Power of Evil to go catch, which then unlocks Reckless to join his team, and now they are the ones with potentially 5 people in the mid lane but instead they're going for a 4-1, playing more towards the top side.
And this is where I love Graves so much as a jungler, because he adds wave clear to your team. Like, you don't need to rely on the Ashe here, you don't need to rumble ulti, because Kakao just sits there, Qs it, and if he needs more, he can ulti it as well. And then the wave is gone, stops Fnatic from getting a tower, and allows Misfits now to push out, and they actually start getting that opening where it's now Misfits who can make a play on the Fnatic tower.
Misfits playing 4-1 bot side, that bot lane has been pushed in. Power Vivo's leaving it neutral though. It's going to be slowly pushing out.
Let's see if Source can find a ward behind Misfits. There is one where Alfari is now. They're actually pinging in near the Raptor camp, but everyone backs away. It becomes a reset. That's one of the important things in League of Legends is when you have to push, you don't always have to 5-man that tower. You can sometimes just use it to recall, get wards, get your items, and then go back out on the map without losing anything.
Wow, Misfits, they are losing a little bit of farm in the side lanes when they don't push them out all the way. Obviously, you want to push them as far as you safely can, because otherwise they will slowly push against your opponents. They wait for it to stack into a big wave. They cash in like 30 seconds, 5 minion waves at once, whereas you has just been bleeding 1 or 2 minion waves every single time.
And that's why Misfits needs to be able to execute on the engages. Like, you need to accept that against a split push and composition, you will have to surrender the sides from time to time. But hopefully your composition or your team is then better 5v5. So when you engage, you can actually win those. That's how you get your goal. That's how you get your advantage.
Yeah, we can track what their game plan is right now. We see Ignar moving into the enemy jungle to play some deep wards. Obviously, the more wards are placed in the enemy jungle right now, the more it allows Power Vivo to play aggressive on the bottom lane, because he doesn't want to be surprised. And if you don't have a ward, you can always send in the jungler.
That's what they're doing right now. Brave's always good at invading in. Power Vivo not running teleport in this game, something we didn't actually mention much earlier. Wants a bit more kill pressure for himself to see if he can actually maybe get a kill 1v1 against Caps or against whoever he's facing in the side lane. It's not going to be Source, but top lane, of course, Reckless is split pushing.
The surprise push forward, the vision control in their favor. Alfari may have to give up the equalizer to clear this wave out. But the rest of Misfits is moving up. Maybe they're hoping to find the collapse. You talk about Power Evil. Now is a good time to look for a fight. Level 11, Gunblade completed, Ignite up and available. He's not going to get much stronger than this.
We want to see some fights as well in this game here. Like, when you get a Fnatic game, you expect a lot of skirmishes, a lot of 1v1s, 2v2s, constantly happening around the map. And Reckless, of course, trying to gank people on these 80 carries here. But this game, 17 minutes in, 6 kills only. Might see something in mid.
Power goes in. Gunblade triggers. Caps looking to get out, but he's instantly locked up. There's the Ignite, but here comes the redemption. He's still going to live. Broxa comes in with the save.
Always important to highlight with this cleanse here that once you use it to get rid of CC, it does give you extra reduction for the next CC that lands onto you. Now Source might get caught.
Locked up, chains go in, depth charge coming out. Kakao, is he going to go forward for more? Smoke screen to buy a bit of time, but Broxa just denying all these picks.
Yeah, and this entire sequence of events has been a reaction from the Misfits playing around the bottom side of the map. They see Karma and Kennen in the top lane, which means if they move around mid lane and bot lane, they can only face 3 enemies. So they can take a dragon, they can go for an aggressive play, and they can make something happen because Alfari held top lane 1v2.
Ignar, though, finds an engage very quickly. Hansama using the Blade of the Rune King. They're pushing for more. Hunter's Focus comes out. Not going to be enough. There's the Equalizer. Still can't find it, but Alfari exhausted and hungry for more. Blue Collar buys a bit of time. They're leaping in. Power of Evil, meanwhile, off to the side. Will they be able to find a way in? Caps is coming as well. Will we see the 5v5? Ignar once again finds a way in. Broxa looking for a little bit more, taking his time to run out. Has to flash to safety. Misfits with the advantage, but no one's going to die.
And we have not seen Fnatic play a composition where they need to kite back. All playoffs, it's always been Fnatic engaging, running forward, trying to flank people left and right. But with this Ivern pick, it just changes the way they have to play the game. They need to respect the engage from Misfits, step away, get that Rumble ulti out of the way, and then look to maybe re-engage on one target alone. They're not going to just AoE down this Misfits lineup. So it's very different late game we get from Fnatic. So far, they're doing fine with it.
Yeah, just because we've seen Fnatic play some of these niche picks that can surprise people, doesn't mean they have to play super aggressive, go for all these kind of weird plays in the early game. They're fine letting Ryze scale right now. If they do not lose too many turrets on the map, Caps will become nigh unkillable. With a cleanse built in, the shields from Ivern and Karma, if they make one misstep, this guy can just solo carry the fights because there's 4 squishies on the side of Misfits.
You're going to have that Kennen pushing in the side lane as well. So much to deal with for Misfits. They need to be confident when they look to pick these plays because we've already seen those picks not easy to pull off. And if it's a full 5v5 and you misstep and you fail to kill that one crucial member, Caps or Reckless, everything can just fall apart for your team.
You know, your Ivern's been active when he's done more damage than your bottom lane in a game like this. Broxa actually done a great job after falling behind early, just executing ganks on our far top lane left and right.
And for a rookie, that's very impressive. Not only did he have to come into an already kind of broken Fnatic, like any mid-season
He was supposed to be one of the fixes.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a solution in a very like broken team that came in with so much promise and presence, right? The 5 European guys, they were announced in a bunker. There was so much hype, but suddenly it didn't go well for Fnatic. Then this Broxite guy shows up and he has to improve the team. He gets cheesed on stage on his first big arena game and he recovers. Impressive.
And not just, I mean, just such a surprising clear from Kakao as well. No hesitation in him as he adapted. Instantly turns his attention to the top lane. Not something we frequently see from Fnatic. We expected it to be all about the bottom side. So the adjustments coming in here are impressive from such a young player. But now, Misfits, they're starting to take vision control. They're starting to get control over this top side of the map. And Fnatic are going to have to respect this.
This is where Misfits normally do really well when it comes to setting up around that mid lane. Try and get that full vision control and then look for the fight. Again, looking at Hansama with the arrows.
Yeah, always push your mid lane first. That is the standard play.
See, they're gonna get for mid lane tower to get Caps.
Forward, Caps Redemption's already down, but that's a lot of damage. He's gonna go down. Power's gonna grab the kill in the end. Tower drops as well. It's a good start for Misfits, but do Fnatic want to keep the fight?
It's the same thing again here where Reckless, if you look at your minimap, guys, he's down towards the bottom side. So Misfits, they know we just need to run mid lane because we have 4v5. We can just engage. Now Reckless is here.
Moving forward, Belly Bob knocks it back. Ignar now in trouble. Reckless is in the back, but he's immediately exhausted. Jez is in trouble as well. So as there's no damage coming in from the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, there's only one damage dealer in that fight. His name is Reckless because Caps is already dead.
So as running, trying to use the body slam to make it to safety. Misfits chasing him down. No hesitation from Power of Evil. Leaping forward. Where are the chains? Leaps back. Doesn't have the cooldown, and Fnatic are going to walk away.
Yeah, and the Misfits, they come with the answer to the 1-3-1. If you get greedy as a team and you start 1-3-1ing with pushed lanes, obviously it leaves your mid lane so weak in a 5v3 duel. And we saw Fnatic falter in this exact concept when they were the ones 5 versus G2 with the 3 members in the past. Beautifully broken down by Jat as well. Yeah, it's such a greedy play to defend that turret and expecting to hold.
I mean, this is what, you know, we knew would happen after some weeks of watching the split push AD carry style from Fnatic. Now, I'm not saying it can't work, because of course they've won a lot of games. It's actually been very successful for them, and they are still doing fighting this game. But people are just figuring out the answer.
And then Fnatic need to adapt too, and if you want to make that play work, you gotta move more into a 4-1. You gotta bring Soaz to the mid lane, and he becomes the same thing that Kakao did for Misfits earlier. He becomes a wave clear, and then Reckless can put the side lane on pressure.
Or it becomes a situation where you have your AD carry with Caps and so on first. You push out mid, and then you send Reckless down to a side lane when there's no chance of Misfits just grouping mid lane on you, because you can see here, Misfits are just waiting for this wave to come in, and then I believe this replay is not really a replay. That's a replay.
There you go.
I was like, yeah, I was pretty sure they had a wave they pushed in with, but of course, we saw some action.
Good to see, and so close to being disastrous for Fnatic as they continue to push for more, but doesn't fall apart past the first kill. And as you said, Reckless not pushing too far to the bottom side. Misfits were hunting him, and now we see the map reset.
Always good to see a map reset, because then you can start judging the synergies, the liberties that some people are taking with the Warcliffe Soaz hiding right there, defending his vision, for example. Fnatic right now, very condensed, so now they're doing the right thing. They want mid lane pressure first. Let's see where they go from here.
Looks like they may just be looking to make a play under this tier 1 tower, but there's the wave clear from Kakao, denying any potential engage.
Yeah, now they're going for a fight, actually.
Ignar, Cap's going to get locked up. There's Redemption once again. In comes Daisy trying to block the damage, but down goes the equalizer. Soaz is all alone on the backside. He may just be the sacrificial lamb. Ignar going to drop Soaz. Can he make it to safety? So many shields coming out. He's still alive. Misfits are the one who lose the trade.
Oh, the call here from Misfits were simple. Flash engage with Nautilus and land the arrow from Hansama. But the arrow went the wrong way. He shot it behind him.
Happens.
Happened again. Like, it's a rookie on the stage for the first time. Nerves in game 1. Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, we've all had it happen. You wake up, you know, it's early in the morning, walk to the toilet. Sometimes
you miss the arrow.
You miss the arrow, and it goes all over the wall, and you have to clean it up. And that's exactly what happened to Hansama right here.
Man, you have problems, Mitch. You have some serious problems.
Fnatic, though, of course, in the end, the ones to clean it up, the ones to grab the Cloud Dragon. As you look back on this, you can just see where it fell apart.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, that explains everything. There's not much more to analyze here. Obviously, Gragas tanks a bit more than Nautilus at this point.
Yeah, so again, it was like hook that one guy, arrow him so he CC'd, then kill him. Call in itself was good for Misfits. Execution, sadly, didn't work for them. But they're starting this Baron here. Reckless again was sitting bottom lane. So Misfits are trying to force fights when the Kennen is missing.
And it's even something you can do. I don't think Misfits had the intention to take that Nashor. They just say, hey, we're hitting it. You're now obliged to walk over, else we will win the ensuing fight that is 4v5. It's a great way to force somebody to walk to you. Just hit the Baron once, disengage. As long as you have a tank, you can do it.
Exactly. That's always the thing about Baron pressure, is it's so determined around like how fast can you kill it and who can tank it. If you don't have anyone who can actually tank the Baron, if you don't have a team that can kill it fast enough, there's not a whole lot of Baron pressure then.
Yeah, obviously. But if you usually, when you don't have anybody to tank for it, it means you're drafting more damage dealers, and it should be dying faster. Otherwise, you have major draft issues.
Yeah, and that's especially once you get to like 30 minutes, and like a bruiser like Graves kind of can just stand in front of it, still deal a ton of damage as well. Then you can really rush it down. But once again, we saw Fnatic group mid lane. They tried to siege. You don't siege on the Graves. No. It's not going to work for you. They need to just push in that wave, and then they can go to the side lanes. But they've actually been doing it the other way around. They push the side lane, go to mid, and then allow Misfits a 5-on-5.
For now, they're trying to regain control of that Baron pit. They did move up, deny some of the vision that Misfits had placed earlier. Now Misfits looking to take it back, this back and forth. Just both teams fighting for control of the pit, of this top side.
And we also see in terms of lane assignments, Alphari is itemized so efficiently against Soaz, Broxa, and Kaz. But if he ever meets Reckless, he is going to suffer with that build. So that's going to be the Misfits macro having to work in. If Alphari plays versus Reckless on a side lane, he's going to lose, but he'll have teleport advantage. That'll be a very interesting situation then.
Yeah, then you should just force that Baron if you are Misfit. Now, Sama looking for another arrow. It gets harder and harder once you've missed a few of them. Yeah. Then you start kind of questioning yourself, and you don't want to keep missing that key ulti.
Well, while he pushes in the top side of the map, the TP comes in, and Fnatic are content to get something back. In goes Caps, lock up onto Ignar. Reckless goes forward, but down comes the Equalizer. Can Misfits turn this back? Ignar healed up, but in comes the Redemption. Fnatic are looking good, but Kakao, he's trying to dish out the damage, and things are just falling apart.
Yeah, they're falling apart because Alphari may go down as well.
Reckless gets another one. Soaz tanks the tower, and Fnatic are in control.
Oh, they're getting out with that.
Making it out to safety in the end. It's a good look for Fnatic. They get the 2-0, they get the tower as well, and now they're moving in for that Baron.
Yeah, and here we see the problem with that teleporting knight trying to play in on the side lane.
Tower goes forward. Maybe looking for the outplay, but there's so much chain CC. In comes the Gragas. Did not want to dance with the fat man. Tries to leap out, tries to make it to safety. Red buff ticking, but Power of Evil is still fine and still alive.
Fnatic once again looking at that Baron here. Soaz can definitely tank it. Has enough armor under his belt. They also have the shields coming in from Karma and Iron.
It's a pretty slow one for Fnatic. It's only 2 damage dealers are really taking it down here, so the Misfits have some time, but can they reach enough members to make it there? It's also in a brush, which is really annoying.
Ticking down, 2K, Kakao looking for a way over the wall, moves forward, not gonna get it in the end, outsmited by Broxa as Fnatic take the first Baron of the game.
Close in the end here. Soaz wanted to jump out and just interrupt a potential dash from Kakao, stop him from getting into the Baron pit. Jumped down a little bit too early. So this push here from Fnatic was really good because LeBlanc was top lane for once.
Yeah, and it's not running the teleport here. And the problem for Misfits is that they get some damage, but they can't over-chase. And a really good cast from Soaz forces Alphari's flash as well. And then it's really easy for Fnatic to kite. If you're in a numbers advantage situation, kite becomes so much easier to play because there's not enough damage from the opponents to really catch you.
And we see in that replay, that's the exact situation we discussed earlier. Alphari forced face-to-face with the Kennen, no armor whatsoever, just gets ripped through. And not just any Kennen, Reckless's Kennen. This man has been immaculate. Pretty much the only person, when he picks 80 Kennen, that we don't have a question.
Exactly, like not only did he play well on it, he actually made other teams in Europe look way worse because they tried to play 80 carry Kennen and they couldn't execute it. So really worked well for him, I feel like.
And this is a better example of Fnatic pushing mid and then moving towards Reckless instead, helping him get that turret down. Another side lane turret here, trying to build up that Baron power play, you know, amassing the gold advantage. So the Misfits eventually get outscaled.
And we see that Rumble ulti in the last fight from Alphari was actually really good. But when you can play against shields from Karma, Locket, Iron, everything, actually a lot of that damage then gets nullified from Fnatic. No one actually drops low enough for then a potential Graves ulti to execute someone.
Yeah. Against this team comp, Misfits need really good target selection. They can't just AoE Zergum down. They need to take one guy down at once, remove some of the benefit of these massive AoE shields, and highlight the fact that they can just take one guy at a time.
And it only gets harder too. Jesus now with the redemption of his own, double redemption. Goes in, he's gonna Zanya's the style play escape, the Rise special. Power of Evil continuing to try to start the fight, but it's just not gonna work.
See if we can get maybe a re-engage from Fnatic. They have Source with full HP, looking for a potential target. Flash is available.
Still 1 minute 30 on that Baron buff, and now they're going to do the same thing they did earlier, but they're going to switch it to the bottom side. push the mid lane, have Reckless push up that side lane, and then hopefully get tier 2 in the bottom lane.
And it all simply came down to that push on mid tower, where Misfits for once didn't actually push out the wave early, meet it early, so didn't have wave clear ready. When Power Vivo was top lane, allowed Fnatic to get a push in, then a fight, and now they used that to get Baron buff, and all the outer turrets suddenly dropping. One play from Fnatic opened up the entire map.
And now at the 30-minute mark, 5 towers down to 3, a massive gold lead in favor of Fnatic. Just about 5K in their favor, exactly where they want to be with so many side lane threats, like the Kennen, like the Ryze. All of these options open and available now for Fnatic.
But always one of the problems with the split pushing comms is once you get to the base, once you get to the inhibs, it's really hard to kind of split push your way to victory, and you often have to rely on Baron buffs, a ban off command, or winning a fight to break all the way in.
Give me that banner, baby.
For now, it's about a single super minion poking away at the tower, but Soaz wants to keep the fight going. Ignar once again oversteps and will get taken down. Reckless on a killing spree. Fnatic with their sights on that tier 2.
That's the kind of fight you're looking for if you're a Fnatic, to then get down another tower here. Poor Ignar, no flash, and it's easy for Soaz to just knock him back.
Yeah, honestly, great performance from Soaz early on. The snowball goes in again.
Soaz
Now Reckless!
forward, Reckless on the way in. In comes the Realm Warp on the backside. Surprise, it's Caps, it's Daisy, and it's a death for Hansama. No, looking to turn it back. Hansama pulling out, will make it out to safety, and Caps will be the one who drops, but Fnatic, they're still in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they're taking down his tower here. Soaz, he's so fit. 3 early kills, and we said this in Champ Select. Soaz on Gragas. It is so fun to watch because he's creative, he's good at engaging. He's been finding a lot of very well-timed body slams and then ultis in this game.
And there is one thing that has been a major shakeup for Fnatic in this pick with the Iron. They've also channeled the pressure to the top lane. Fnatic was known for ganking bot lane over and over and over, so well that even when you knew it was coming, it would still punish you. And then they surprised their opponents here by switching it up and going for the top lane.
There's nothing you could do as Ignar once you get caught by that rune prison into the engage from Soaz. Fight is already won, and this is what Fnatic likes to do also with the Kennen. Just send him into the back line with his ulti and start the fight.
And it's honestly one of the weaknesses of a lot of teams that draft AD Kennen. They think it's so strong on lane. The really best way to set it up is having shield backups. Either you have a Shen that pops a W on top of him, or you just have a million shields with Ivern and Karma that keep Kennen alive as he ultis in. How often have we seen a Kennen ulti in, do nothing, and just get squashed?
Very often.
Just about every game.
But not from Reckless. Not from Reckless and Fnatic. Ivern first pick actually ended up working out really well for Fnatic in this game. Now, you can obviously debate, did they have to take it early, could they grab something else, but they probably just wanted to see the first rotation from Misfits as well and see if they could counterpick in a way, like trying to bait out this LeBlanc early. Ryze was available for Caps, and while he's been under pressure, he's actually been able to at least have an impact in these fights.
And a huge showing of confidence for PoE to blind pick the LeBlanc,
hello,
but it hasn't
Soaz.
worked out. Soaz, though, trying to start a fight. Hansama, no luxury to flash this time. He's going to drop to Reckless. Ignar's moving forward. Ignar is in trouble.
Yeah, if you walk into a frozen mountain AD carry, you're not going to escape.
No chance, but Power of Evil. He looks to turn it back. Still exhausted, however, means no path out quite yet. Moving for more. Caps flashes forward. Power of Evil is in trouble. Down he goes. Ryze takes that one in the end, and Caps, he's hungry for more. Out comes the Trigger Seed. Shields him up. Ignar, the shield half powers him up, but it's not enough. It's the double kill for Caps, and Fnatic own the base.
Kakao is trying to kill the wave here to stop Fnatic from actually finishing the game. It's gonna also succeed.
It'll succeed. They stall, so they get one inhibitor, but they're so far ahead right now, and it's almost too easy for Fnatic at this point.
I mean, it's such a fun TP here from Soaz. You know, comes in completely unexpected, and Hansama just gets caught out, dies instantly. Kakao just buying time here. Trying to make sure we get at least another fight in this game.
Walking away. He'll
if
take
you
his
delay
time.
this, the more you delay this, the better it actually is for the game. Because if he dies super late, you can obviously get some Baron pressure if it spawns. It does spawn in 40 seconds.
Yeah, it's actually wait another 10 seconds maybe. Then kill him.
Slowly, slowly, play with him.
Down in the end, the slow but sure demise of Kakao, and as you said, 40 seconds, 48 in fact, for Kakao means that Fnatic will get the Baron setup, and we'll look at this one more time.
Seemingly out of nowhere, Hansama used this flash earlier to escape, and these ER combos, they have changed slightly. You need to throw out the R as you're Eing forward. You can't wait for the hit anymore. Obviously, it travels too slow as a projectile, which means you have to have even more confidence in your ability to connect your skill shots.
Always beautiful. Let's see
checking online. They're trying to get under Reckless, but there's too many shields. He's still alive. He's still up. He's still okay. Reckless lives. He won't die. Down goes the LeBlanc. So many people dropping in the face of Reckless, and that's the triple.
Fnatic, they have the Baron setup. They forced the Misfits to go for a Reckless fight, because what will they do against the Baron setup 4v5? They couldn't do absolutely anything. And they win that fight, and it all gets worse when Reckless drops to 5% and he still lives.
Slow and steady walk towards the Nexus. Everyone knows that Fnatic, they're going to push all the way in and win the game. Quite a walk, though.
Quite a walk, but one of confidence. Reckless, everything focused on him, meant the Karma, meant the Ivern got to come online, keep him up and healthy. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We were looking for first blood in the series, and it's going to be Fnatic who make their mark on the opposition, and Misfits who fall down as SOAS has a bit of fun with it, and the game closes.
And I think this was in many ways like a very standard like game one, where it was a little bit slower than maybe expected because you're not always gambling everything. But the very first game, we saw nerves from some people, Power of Evil missing chains, arrows going the wrong way.
I think that was a very crucial arrow, because if it hits,
Very
Misfits
crucial.
take complete control of the game. But my man for this game was still Broxa. With the Ivern, expanding that champion pool, getting, cheesed or outpathed early like a cow, and then bouncing back, snowballing SOAS, who then takes complete control of the game.
Yeah, I want to add SOAS to this conversation here.
It's my list, you can have your own list.
Okay, so on your list is Broxa. I'm going to put SOAS there so we can just add our list together. And then I think we have this top side of Fnatic that we did not expect to be the massive carries in a game like this here. Caps was under pressure, and Reckless was spending a lot of time trying to push out lanes and then joining for later fights. So it was SOAS who got ahead early. It was SOAS who started fights with Broxa. And it was actually really good to see these two guys on two tanks allow the rest of Fnatic to just survive the engage and then win the follow-up fight.
And to set up Caps, to set up Reckless to just carry the game and say, hey, we're ahead, we'll just make you stronger, we'll make you more effective. We'll use the Kragas to get those engages every single time. SOAS just gets better and better at this champion every time we see him.
Spotting here, or what is he?
It's just, stretching. You gotta stretch those chairs, man. You sit there for a while. On the other side, the Misfits, not a fan of the Ignite LeBlanc. I think for their style, Teleport would have fitted so much better to really get those side lanes out one more wave, allow Power of Evil to join, because the crucial fights were won when Power of Evil was on the side lane.
Huge factor in this game, but Fnatic are on a mission to take the third place here in Hamburg. Let's see what the analyst desk think about game one.
Thank you very much, Dracos, and we're going to jump on a lot of those points, starting with the jungle and the top end. That first pick, Ivern, which was quite a surprise, and a lot of eyes were on Broxa and what he could do in this matchup versus Cacao. Trashy, you said when the picks came out, it can be 50-50. It all depends on how aggressive Graves is early and how he can shut down Ivern.
Yeah, like Ivern as a champion has really fast clear. But he struggles in like dueling early game before he gets his items. And I would just want to praise Cacao, like he switches up things completely and completely out mind games Broxa here. But personally, like he should snowball the game from this, because he can just perma-invade and take over the game. But instead he decides to split the map, where he decides to play for the bottom side, and he allows Broxa to play for the top side and get successful ganks.
So is that then a mind game? They know that usually Fnatic plays towards the bot side, so Cacao says, well, I have a bit of a lead, I'm going to hover around there, and Fnatic says, no way.
Well, I was just impressed with what Cacao was able to do, because the amount of pressure that he was inflicting onto Caps to try and get Power of Evil this lead. I remember we were talking very much about the way in which Misfits have succeeded in the past, was that when Power of Evil and Cacao are roaming around the map together, and if they were able to shut down Caps, they could then invest a lot of their resources into shutting down Reckless, where they thought, hey, if we can just get this AD carry off of some kind of lead, then maybe we as a team can actually claw off this early game. But Fnatic had different ideas. Their early game investment was completely opposite of what we've seen before.
They definitely heavily targeted that top lane. We have a couple of replays of that as well, and it was a bad time for Alphari here on stage to start things off.
So obviously, like it's a great play from Broxa. Like he sees that Cacao is bottom side and he takes the opportunity to go for the top gank. But I think it's more so a mistake from Misfits side to actually allow this to happen, because Cacao is so far ahead because of the invade and the mid pressure that he should be able to just counteract whatever Broxa is doing. So this in my theory should never happen, but because of it happens, then we see like going into the mid game how strong Fnatic is.
And we have to think about what that does also for SOAS, because you think, oh, 3-0 Gragas, what does that actually mean? But when these mid-game fights started happening, it was SOAS that was soaking up all of this damage. Alphari did not have enough damage to contribute enough to be able to win a lot of these mid-game fights in their favor. So at first you think, oh, okay, it's really not that bad for Misfits, but it ended up being a horrible situation for them to be in.
Yeah, because it trickles down to later in the game when they need that damage in those explosive team fights. Even though Alfari does a good job of kind of soaking up the damage and not falling behind too far, he does get still a lot of farm on the board, but when those big engages come, that is when the problem comes. And we're going to take a look at some of those. I do want to take a look at a Power of Evil play, because this is one of his comfort picks, right? And he definitely wanted to play around with it and definitely wanted to make a couple of things happen. You, as our resident mid lane expert, talk me through
I think this is just so much fun, right? Because the cool thing here is Power of Evil forces Caps out of the fight, right? He is now low enough that they can think, okay, we can get the collapse down on Power of Evil. He's overextended. We have full vision as to where he is. He has no escape routes. You've got Reckless cutting off the Dragon escape. And at this point, Caps is thinking, all right, I can get him. I know where he's going. He doesn't realize that he's actually sitting on a ward and Power of Evil is waiting for the outplay.
But I also feel like they're getting a bit desperate at this point because they see what's happening top, and they know going into the mid game when you play against Gragas Ivern, like a huge front line with all these shields, is going to be so hard for them to actually win the team fights. So they needed to try something, and I mean, we have to respect them for going for that. And it looks cool, right?
Yeah, it looked cool, and he thought he had it, but Broxa still gets the kill. And then comes that mid game, and we saw Misfits. They had the right idea initially. We just have to hard engage on them when they don't have all 5 members, especially when Kennen is down in the bottom lane trying to farm. And sometimes that went really well for them.
I think it's really worth praising the fact that Misfits was so proactive in being able to force these fights when Reckless was nowhere near them. They knew, oh, we have a numbers advantage, we can try and look for these fights. But one of the big issues comes back to the advantages that SOAS had and the way in which Fnatic found a lot of their successful engages.
And from this game, I feel like it's interesting because they actually go completely opposite of what we expected. Like, we expected Fnatic to go super early game focused, and we expected Misfits to kind of go more of a scaling composition, but it was completely opposite this time, and I feel like that shows a lot of confidence from Fnatic sides, that they feel like they can actually just outplay Misfits in the mid game with the picks they have. So I would be scared if I was Misfits going into the next couple of games.
Well, definitely. And if we look at what they can eradicate going into the next game, a couple of things we pointed out. Obviously, the backwards arrow is not something you want. Some of the hooks from Nautilus missing. That's normally Ignar probably would have hit. Those are things that should be able to justify. And next game, it should be over. They shouldn't make those same mistakes. But you don't agree?
No, I just reminded myself that I did the same at Worlds when I played. I remember I did a grave the wrong way and I died, and I just remember, like, yeah, it's the pressure kind of gets to you at some point, right? And it shows too. Like, Hansama is new to it, and his first time playing on a big stage. And
well, you guys didn't really recover, so will the Misfits be able to?
Well, I think in order for them to recover, I want to see some key changes. Number one, if you're playing LeBlanc, pick Teleport. I think that while Ignite is fine for being able to snowball your lane and your matchup and maybe get ahead, I think that it is very risky if you cannot take advantage of it. And if there was a Teleport in that game, they could have better abused the fact that Reckless was constantly off on the side lane. And I also think that from Misfits, they need to be a little bit more prepared, because I feel that Fnatic, coming into that draft, were fully expecting all of those very meta standard picks to come out from Misfits. So I'd like to see them just bring out something new, be a little bit more creative in what they bring out in Game 2.
And I think for Misfits, they need to look at their pressure lanes. Like, they have a pressure lane in Rumble that is constantly pushing in. Kakao can play on that side and invade, and instead he trying to snowball the bot lane, when in reality he could just play around the top, and I think they would have a higher chance of winning the game. So.
All right, well, let's see what happens. Fnatic, they want to end the split with a win and are off to a good start. We will be back for Game 2 right after the break.
Kakao is here again. Jez's no summoners.
Definitely caught out. Kakao just going to walk this one down, pick it up. Nice kill for Misfits.
He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Nice. Nice, mate. Really nice, mate.
But SOAS wants to keep the fight going. Ignar once again oversteps and will get taken down. Reckless on a killing spree. There's too many shields. He's still alive. He's still up. He's still okay. Reckless lives. He won't die. Down goes the LeBlanc. So many people dropping in the face of Reckless, and that's the triple.
Unkillable demon.
It's going to be Fnatic who make their mark on the opposition, and Misfits who fall down as SOAS has a bit of fun with it, and the game closes.